Okay, I see my clock shows 5 o'clock, so we can go ahead and get started. Thank you everyone for joining us on this sunny April evening. We have an exciting board meeting tonight. To get started, I'm going to do roll call quickly starting with Dr. Barrows.
Here.
Director Smith, excuse me. I just gave you all PhDs.
I'll take the promotion.
That's what I thought. Maybe I misunderstood you at the beginning, but I'll take it. I'll take the doctor title.
I'm here. Thank you.
I am also here. I'm going to assume that Director Decker, here she is. We have quorum. We're all present and accounted for. The first item on our agenda is very exciting. We finally get to fill our board. We have appointed Sandra Zavala as our board director. We went through an application and interview process last month, and we're very pleased to have her join us. I'm going to welcome Judge Scott Collier to join us for the oath of office.
Promoting.
Welcome, Judge Collier. Thank you very much.
Certainly. Hopefully you can hear me.
We can.
All right. Thank you. Well, thank you for allowing me to be part of this. It's always fun. You know, these are part of the fun duties that judges don't get to do all that often. So thank you for letting me be part of it. Sandra, if you are ready, I will administer the oath to you.
I am ready.
All right. I'll get you to raise your hand and repeat after me. And say, I state your full name.
I, Sandra Zavala Ortega.
And then repeat after me. Do solemnly swear that I am a citizen of the United States.
I solemnly swear that I am a citizen of the United States.
And the state of Washington.
In the state of Washington.
That I will support the Constitution.
That I will support the Constitution.
And the laws of the United States.
And the laws of the United States.
And the Constitution.
And the Constitution.
And the laws of the state of Washington.
And the laws of the state of Washington.
And will do my best of my judgment.
And will do my best of my judgment.
Skills and ability.
Skills and ability.
Truly, faithfully, diligently, and impartially.
Truly, faithfully, diligently, and impartially.
Perform the duties of the office.
Perform the duties of the office.
Of Director Position Number 2.
Of Director Position Number 2.
Vancouver School District Number 37.
Vancouver School District Number 37.
In and for Clark County, Washington.
And in Fort Vancouver. And in Fort
Clark County, Washington.
Clark County, Washington.
As such duties are prescribed by law.
As such duties as prescribed by law.
All right. Thank you. That concludes the oath. I will be signing it and sending it in the next couple of minutes. Congratulations. It's a combination. I've been in elected office before the judicial spot. I was on the city council. I think it's probably a combination. Congratulations and condolences both at the same time. It depends on the issue. And your position will be much like mine as a judge. Half the time people will think you're wise and doing great stuff, and half the time people are going to think you don't know at all what you're doing. So welcome to that.
Thank you.
Well, good luck in your position. I will step out, let you guys get on with your business, and I will get the oath sent over. I have it on my desk all ready to go. So they'll have it in their hands in a few minutes, and they'll route it to you for your signature.
Thank you so much, Judge Collier. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Gracias.
De nada.
Well, thank you. Welcome, Sandra. We're so happy to have you. We all have had the pleasure of getting to meet Sandra in person, which is an exciting development. I want to take a moment to thank the team, especially Erin, for helping you get onboarded and getting you all set up. We are so looking forward to working with you. Yeah, welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Excellent. Our next item on the agenda, another positive one, we have our Employee Excellence Awards. We are honoring 5 hardworking individuals this month. We will be promoting them to panelists so we can honor them virtually for those that are participating. The following employees were selected by a committee of their peers for exceptional commitment to the students and staff of Vancouver Public Schools. The first person we have is Leah Sweeney. She's an attendance clerk at Eisenhower Elementary and hired in November 2008. I will wait for her to join us. Welcome, Leah. Great to have you. The phrase hard worker and Leah Sweeney are nearly synonymous at Eisenhower. Throughout the pandemic, she has tracked student participation in remote learning, regularly checked in on her colleagues and Eisenhower families, and helped new teachers get established at the school. Thank you. That's all been very important work this past year. So thank you very much for your dedication. Next, we have Kathy Potter. She's a district resource officer in the safety department, hired in September of 1998.
Looks like Kathy's unfortunately absent from our attendee list tonight.
Okay. Well, Kathy, this is what was said of Kathy. Building positive relationships with staff members and students is key to being a district resource officer. And Kathy achieves that goal with finesse. She is skilled at responding to escalating behaviors and keeping everyone involved safe. Such an important role in our schools. Thank you very much, Kathy. Next, we have Stacy Holmstrom, teacher at Anderson Elementary, hired in August of 2015.
She's been promoted.
Welcome, Stacy. Thanks for joining us. This is what was said of Stacy. Stacy has worn many hats at Anderson. She thrives with each new opportunity, approaching it with her unique blend of passion, positivity, and professionalism. Wonderful. Thank you so much for your dedication. Next, we have Jennifer, I apologize, Geloff, teacher at Anderson Elementary.
Promoting now.
Here she is. Jennifer, welcome. Hi, I apologize if I mispronounced your last name.
It's Geloff, so it has a
Geloff,
J.
okay. Well, welcome. Jennifer's passion for equity and inclusion inspire others to practice greater empathy and compassion for their students. She has lifted her colleagues and students throughout the pandemic. Thank you so much. That's very important work. Lastly, we have Jason Galvas, teacher at Fort Vancouver High School for Center for International Studies, hired in August 2001.
Jason is also absent tonight.
Jason is also absent. Well, Jason has taken great strides to maintain the positive connections with students and families. During remote learning, he has worked hard to support his students and maintain open lines of communication. Wow, that's obviously been very important work this past year. So thank you, Jason, for all that you've done for our students and families. Well, thank you to all of our award recipients. We appreciate your hard work and just commitment to our schools. Next on our agenda, we have our student representatives doing a presentation this evening. And first up, we have excuse me. We have from Columbia River, Riley Sharman or Maya Anson, or possibly both.
Hi there.
It, look,
this is Maya
it looks like we have Maya tonight.
All right.
Excellent.
Good evening, members of the board, cabinet members, and community guests. My name is Maya Anson, and I represent Columbia River High School. The prompt this month was, what is one of your school's biggest challenges, and how could your school overcome this challenge? Given this past year with the pandemic and that we're in, and the social changes we've seen in politics and activism recently, everyone in our community has been changed and forced to adapt. From Columbia River High School, this has looked like online learning, which comes with a loss in connection, and a mascot change, which comes with controversy, both of which have impacted our school's sense of unity like no other. In ASB, which I'm a part of, our main focus is a sense of unity and community within our school. So overcoming our school's challenge with unity has been something I've focused on personally. One of the first ways that I see us overcoming this challenge is through fulfilling everyone's need for being seen. And this goes especially for the freshmen as well, since this is a really new and maybe even like uncomfortable time for them, since they've never really been in school in person until recently, or met any of their classmates, or even met any of their teachers, and don't even have a mascot at this time. One way that our school tries to make everyone feel seen is through giving students opportunities to use their voice and for that to be highlighted. And an example of this is through our ASB social media spirit weeks and things like that. So throughout these weeks, we encourage students to perform different tasks like wearing their class color or baking a new dish or checking up on someone that they care about, and then sharing their experience with us. And then our social media reposts their posts of participation, and then they're highlighted on our account. And through this type of thing, we can build a sense of community from home. Another way we've tried to rebuild our unity is through making students the main voice in our decision for our new mascot. Not only is the team that's working through the logistics of a new mascot filled with students from different grades and such, but the determining vote for the mascot is exclusively a current student vote. This felt like a necessary component to make our current students feel seen and heard and be just that in a decision that impacts them specifically and directly. And then lastly, we can improve our sense of unity through encouraging community to our students and our staff. A great example of this is through a project that our Diversity Equity Club is currently doing. So all students and staff are encouraged to partake in making their own little piece of art. They'll be cemented into our school grounds in remembrance of the beauty of us making it through these trying times and doing so together. And this project is genuinely really beautiful to me, and I think it's a really wonderful way to bring everyone together to create something that will live on and on. So in closing, although this past year has brought a lot of trials and tribulations that have tested our unity as a community, we have found ways to work on rebuilding that strong sense of family that we've always had before. I appreciate your attention this evening, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Maya. Excellent. Thank you for sharing with us. Next, we have from Fort Vancouver International Studies, we have Michaela Smith. Welcome, Michaela.
Good evening, members of the board, cabinet members, and community guests. My name is Michaela Smith, and I'm from Fort Vancouver High School. Like all schools, Fort has its challenges, but aside from COVID-19, the largest one is the lack of participation and involvement in clubs, athletics, and dances. In order to create solutions, we need to identify where the problem stems from. One reason why participation is low in our school is because of money. Until this year, all activities aside from clubs cost money, even for those on free and reduced lunch. This often prohibits students from low-income households from doing things such as sports or attending dances. Even with the generosity and help from our staff and administrators, it is still a very large obstacle. This also connects to an issue of transportation. It is hard for students that have parents with full-time jobs or siblings to be able to get to and from these activities. Luckily, the district made the decision to waive sport fees and activity fees for those on free and reduced lunch, which is approximately 70% of our school. Hopefully, this will open a door of opportunity for our students to take advantage of to the fullest extent. Until last year, there was very little attendance at our dances. We weren't sure why, but they started to increase in attendance as our student government boosted advertisement, improved on decorations, and innovated our assemblies, which had a very positive impact. To continue improving our involvement at school, there are a few things we can do. We can add incentives such as gift cards, raffles, and competitions, which clubs and sports have been doing, and these past few years it has proven to be beneficial. We can also continue to improve in ASB. Our leadership is growing, and as the leaders of our school grow, their impact will too. Overall, participation has always been a challenge for us, but it has continued to grow in a positive way, and as our students learn and evolve, our school will too. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Mihaela. Next, we have from Hudson's Bay, Karen Gallegos.
Okay. Good afternoon, members of the board, cabinet members, and community guests. My name is Karen Gallegos, and I am from Hudson's Bay High School. This month's prompt question was, what is one of your school's biggest challenges, and how could your school overcome this challenge? In March of 2020, our Vancouver district had canceled school due to COVID-19. This would eventually be the beginning of remote learning and hybrid. One of my school's biggest challenges was the tremendous barrier of human connection and fluid communication. The value of human connection is grossly undervalued. With human connections, we can develop authentic relationships and see and serve one another most effectively. Though we are grateful for technology, human connection is much different than a connection in person. When having fluid communication, it builds a better listener. You become more open-minded with yourself and others. This can help build good relationships with people. Ways that our school could overcome this challenge is by making a plan. By making a plan, we can look ahead. When having a positive mindset during challenges and overcoming them, it can build optimism into your attitude and increase the ability to overcome anything. It can be hard, but remaining positive can affect many areas in your life, such as your health and well-being. It's okay to ask for help when you need it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, I believe we have Skyview, Teddy Beaver.
Okay. Good evening, members of the board, cabinet, and community guests. My name is Teddy, and I'm from Skyview High School. By far, our biggest challenge for our school in the past year has been dealing with the impact of COVID-19. The first major issue that has come to has been communication. Previously, under our normal schedule at Skyview, there's been numerous ways for students and teachers to maintain great communication. We had 30 minutes of designated time called storm time used for students to speak with teachers from any of their classes about work or get help with curriculum they were struggling with. Obviously, with in-person schooling, it is much easier to make announcements and transfer information about events at our school. Online school has taken away this opportunity. In order to adapt, our school has put an emphasis on emailing teachers for possible help. And along with that, our school has sent out weekly emails containing newsletters that have information about events going on at our school. Working off of that, involving social aspects of school has been a major issue. Sitting in front of a screen for a Zoom meeting for 4.5 hours a day is just simply not a social event. This particular issue really has not been one that can be solved over Zoom. Many social aspects of in-person school are just not there. However, with the return of school for 2 days a week, this has been a solid address to this situation. Along with that, the return of sports has provided many students with much needed social interaction with their peers. Hopefully, as we continue down a path involving more and more social aspects of school, we will overcome this challenge. Time management has also been an issue for many in our school body this past year. Along with that is attendance. It is just simply much easier to skip a Zoom meeting than it is to skip an entire day of school. It is much easier to not do an online assignment than it is if you are actually there in person. For many in our student body, this has been a struggle. At school, at Skyview, we have attempted to push messages of good planning and methods of organization. Generally, it's been easier for students and teachers alike to address this issue while we have been in person. This is something that we will continue to work for and push for at Skyview. Finally, school unity. School unity is very difficult. It's a very difficult thing to create when no one is actually at school. For many freshmen, they didn't even step foot on campus until just recently. Even for upperclassmen, it's very difficult to take pride in and feel a part of something when there's simply nothing going on around the school. The return of sports has helped to grow school unity somewhat, and some students have even had the opportunity to attend these events and cheer on their fellow classmates. Again, with the return of in-person schooling, many have worked hard to make school live as possible, mainly having posters up around the school about clubs and athletics. And school unity is something we will continue to put emphasis on at the school as we hope to return to more normalcy. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, we have the representative from VSAA, Sammy Duncan.
Hi.
Welcome.
Good evening, members of the board, cabinet members, and community guests. My name is Sammy Duncan, and I'm here from VSAA. During the past year, all of us have faced various challenges and difficulties, and especially school communities. At VSAA, a challenge we have faced is collaboration and how to find new ways to collaborate in the arts and academics through remote and hybrid learning. Collaboration is a key element of VSAA's community. Students of all ages participate in various performances and plays, orchestra and vocal concerts, and so much more, all as students and as a school. Some ways we have found to collaborate through arts in this new learning style, and the main one is our main play this year, The Secret in the Wings, is being done with a small group of theater students with masks and safety and all the guidelines mandated. And is also being filmed with other students from moving image arts students and tech theater students for the whole school to watch online when it is finished. This connects the school in various ways and also gives students a chance to participate in a time where not a lot of things are happening. Also, showcases, the equivalent of assemblies for our school, are a really important part of VSAA too in our community. Usually we all get together in the VSAA Durst Theater and watch students share their artwork, but we can't do that now. And so we do virtual showcases for all the art forms, whether it be a slideshow gallery walk for visual arts or a vocal informant where each singer records their own video and they are all edited together. Ways such as these to safely unite students in art forms keep VSAA creative and collaborative. Thank you.
Thank you. Next from ITech, we have Kira Navarro.
Hello.
Hi there, welcome.
Good evening, members of the board, cabinet members, and community guests. My name is Kira Navarro, and I'm from iTech Preparatory. Some of the biggest challenges as a learning community involve adapting project-based learning to COVID, creating unity as a school with our one campaign, and creating engaging learning experiences virtually. Through the pandemic, we continued to focus on creating an integrated learning environment that capitalizes on strengths of all students and staff by overcoming the challenges that we have faced. And with having challenges like these, our school has adapted and worked on how to solve them. One example is before the pandemic, each year we would have a project called Voices Not Forgotten, where people that experienced the Japanese internment camps in the United States and Holocaust survivors would come and talk to us about what it was like and tell us their story. We weren't able to do it last year because of COVID, but this year we are going to use Zoom as a platform where they can still tell us about their stories and adventures through that time. That way, we can still get the experience of hearing from these amazing people and can connect these themes to a number of projects at iTech. Other ways we've solved the challenges we have been faced were using Zoom and Google to communicate and collaborate. An example of using technology to connect was Mr. Wyckoff's class, where he used a Google form to see how kids were doing and if they needed help. This allowed teachers to respond to students' needs. Another example was using Zoom to help tutor kids every Tuesday in the morning before school. We have had many projects that have been adapted to Zoom during this time. The teachers have used resources to provide kits for students to do work from home during this time so that they can be productive on robotics, chemistry, art, and photography. We still run our clubs to serve our community needs. For example, Key Club is a club for volunteering and has been donating food to the food bank for support. This helps a lot of kids that are wanting to stay involved during this time. What we are still working on is our One campaign, continuing to develop a culture of one school after being on 2 campuses. This was kicked off when AWSL came to our school last year and helped set up many activities to build a bond between all grades. We've continued the theme of having kids that normally would not work together come together to solve problems and collaborate to reach a goal. At iTech, we do combine projects to help bring different grades together. even if it is on Zoom or in person. We've also had our ASB 6th through 8th leaders do tours for the new high school kids that came to school to help show them around, as middle school was already in the building 2 weeks before. Lastly, we are going to set up our DOLs again, which show a demonstration of learning from each student. This is where they can showcase their projects through a semester to peers and staff. We have had a lot of points where we had our challenges, but as we work together, we have been finding many ways to solve or get us a step farther to reach our goal. Thank you.
Thank you. Lastly, from Flex Academy, we have Dominic Pennington.
Working on promoting now.
Thank you.
So Zoom keeps throwing an error code at me. Aaron, I'm gonna have you try to promote him in a moment.
Here he comes.
Hi.
Welcome. Thank you for your patience.
Yeah, no problem. Okay. Good evening, members of the board, cabinet, and community guests. My name is Dominic Pennington, and I am here representing Vancouver Flex Academy. This month's prompt question is, what is one of your school's biggest challenges, and how could your school overcome this challenge? When thinking about the prompt, surprisingly, only the sore thumb of COVID came to mind. Socially and educationally, Flex is very supportive and positive due to the size of our due to the size of our school. Communication is also pretty strong among students and teachers, though being a small school does have its difficulties. COVID has been difficult not just for Flex, but for all schools. Flex's biggest challenge with COVID is social distancing. Since our school is super small, there really isn't a lot of opportunities to socially distance, especially in the hallways. But ideas from students and staff have been shared, and even some being implemented within the classrooms. A few of these ideas include max capacity signs outside of the classrooms, 6-foot personal bubbles in the classroom, and then adding more walkway possibilities around the school, which means some pathways would lead outside and then lead back inside, breaking up some of the clutter in the original hallways. Despite the challenging times we all have faced in this pandemic, it brings me happiness as a student to see and hear that schools are trying their best to slowly but steadily bring us back to the less dreary times before the pandemic. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Dominic. I want to thank all of our student representatives who give us these wonderful updates and share about what's going on in their schools. It's wonderful to hear, especially I think today, hearing about how the students are being creative to get overcome some of the challenges associated with COVID. Next on our agenda is citizen comments. So we have one public comment tonight. Citizen comments is the time in our meeting where the board and administrative staff like to hear comments from the public. Because most matters require fact-finding and review, the board is not able to respond to any public comments made at this time. Additionally, the state's Open Public Meetings Act restricts deliberation on topics that have not been placed on the publicly noticed agenda in advance. If follow-up action is necessary, the board will ask the superintendent to work with the administrative staff to consider the information and respond accordingly. Speakers are expected to be respectful. Personnel complaints and personal attacks are not permitted. The board asks that personnel complaints be submitted in writing. Speakers will be promoted to panelists as I call their name. Please state your name and address for the record. You will have 3 minutes to make your comments. If you hear a chime, please conclude your remarks. If you have materials or additional comments you would like the board to review, please submit those to vpsboard.directors@vansd.org. That information will be shared with the superintendent and board. The board appreciates, listens to, and cares about the broad range of perspectives in our community, and we thank you for your comments in advance. So our first speaker tonight is Amy Bowl.
So I'm having that same error again. Aaron, can you promote Amy?
Here she comes. Hi, Amy, welcome. Thank you for joining us. When you're ready, please state your name and address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Yeah. Amy Bowl, 5201 Berkeley Way, Vancouver, Washington, 98661.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Hello, I am a parent representing myself as well as multiple concerned families, many of whom are English language learners. Tonight, I am addressing a collective concern in regards to the miscommunications and misconceptions families have. I previously spoke at the board meeting on March 9th about the decision to terminate funding for the current title preschool program offered at King Elementary by Kendra Yamamoto. From the feedback I have received from many parents within the community, I believe information is not being accurately portrayed. For example, on March 25th, I received an email from the Executive Director of Special Services stating, and I quote, "The district's title program currently taught by Kendra Yamamoto will not be eliminated. Instead, the program is being expanded." Many other parents have heard similar messages and more. But from what I understand, the decision was made to not fund the current preschool program and instead will only be funding the inclusion model. According to the board workshop on the 23rd, the inclusion model is new, not an expansion of the current preschool program. The new inclusion preschool has a new website, application process, class size, demographics, curriculum, teachers and administrators, and name. The lack of transparency in answers, along with an absence of response to emailed concerns, is alarming, specifically since it is with families residing in our Title I school boundaries. According to OSBI's demographic report on King Elementary this year, 55% of children are Hispanic, followed by 27% white, with at least 75% of students qualifying as low income. After speaking with multiple families who have overcome many obstacles, such as language barriers, to contact the school board and have yet to receive responses, I have been asked to inquire if their emails and concerns will be addressed and heard. I am here tonight asking the board to please read their emails, hear their voice, and reply with concise and accurate information. The question repeatedly came up in regards to if they even have a voice in our district and schools policy and decision-making. I would like to think that we all do, but the process itself of contacting the board is an obstacle many of us here cannot relate to. They have shared stories of lack of knowledge in educational phrases and lingo, language barriers and the need to find interpreters, lack of knowledge of how our district systems and policies work, and the hesitancy to speak out in fear of their status in their communities. My final area of concern is the title dollars themselves. According to the VPS budget summary for the 2019-20 school year, VPS was allotted $7 million in title funds. When dealing with this amount of money, $7 million, it seems imperative that our district would implement some sort of system of checks and balances in order to ensure funds are being used meaningfully and in the best interest of our students. When neighboring districts offer multiple preschool options, such as Evergreen and Camas, both offering 4, yet VPS will only offer 2. I, along with many other parents, would like to know how VPS plans to meet the needs and hear the voices of all of our members, because collectively, we feel that our voices are not being heard or valued.
Thank you, Amy. Okay, that is it for our citizens' comment. We appreciate you joining us this evening. So our next item on the agenda, moving on to section G, which is the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
I will
This is
make
Kathy. Oh, go ahead, Tracy.
I will make the motion for the consent agenda.
Do I have a second?
I will second it. This is Kathy.
Okay. Are there any questions or concerns? Okay, we will move to a vote. Director Barrows.
Accept, approve.
Director Decker.
Accept, approve.
Director Smith.
Sorry.
And Director Zavala.
Approve.
Okay, and I also approve. Moving on to our regular business for instructional administrative support services. The first item is recommendation to conduct a first reading to adopt revised policy 2413, equivalency credit for career and technical education courses in the 2000 series instruction. We reviewed this at our last month's board workshop. Does anyone have any questions? Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Kyle, this is a first reading, so Kathy needs to read, and then we would waive the reading until next month's board meeting, where it would go to a second.
Thank you for that clarification, Erin.
Okay, so the first recommendation is to conduct a first reading to adopt revised policy 2413, equivalency credit for career and technical education courses in the 2000 series instructions. Any questions? Nope. Okay, since there's no questions, we're going to waive the reading tonight and we'll bring it back at the May 11th board meeting.
Okay, thank you. The second item is recommendation to conduct a first reading to adopt revised policy 6220, bid or proposal requirements in the 6000 series management support.
Any questions? Nope. If no questions, we're going to waive the reading and we will bring that also to the May 11th board meeting for the board to address.
Thank you. The next item is recommendation to conduct a first reading to adopt revised policy 6230, relations with vendors in the 6000 series management support.
Any questions?
Nope.
Okay, then we will go ahead and waive the reading and move this to also to our May 11th board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. So our fourth item under regular business is the recommendation to approve purchase agreement number 2021-005 for Apple iPads for elementary schools.
So in support of the Vancouver School District's Design 2 strategic priorities, the district is recommending the purchase of 5,850 Apple iPads and Brent Haven cases. These iPads and cases will be deployed to students in grades 3 to 5 to follow the device refreshment schedule. Recommendations from our community guided this decision. This purchase is being made in accordance with the district's FLE levy spending plan and will be implemented and administered through the District Information and Technology Services, or ITS team. So it is recommended to the Board of Directors to approve a purchase agreement with Apple Incorporated for iPads, barcoding services, and cases in the amount of $2,097,497.61 through a 4-year lease and annual payback of $524,374.40, inclusive of Washington State sales tax. Apple Incorporated meets all district requirements for this purchase.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
I will motion to vote.
Second.
Okay, thank you very much. We can proceed to a vote. Director Barrows,
Approve.
Director Decker,
Approve.
Director Smith,
Approve.
Director Zavala.
Approve.
Okay, and I also approve. The next item on the agenda is the recommendation to award bid 2021-006 Kiggins Bowl Modernization and Field House.
On April 6, 2021, 5 bids were received and opened for stadium modernizations and construction of a new field house at Kiggins Bowl. Stadium modernizations will include seismic upgrades, secondary press box, and a new traffic surface over the existing seating. The field house will add a secondary concession, new team rooms, public restrooms, and official lockers room. PNC Construction, Portland, Oregon submitted the lowest qualified bid. A copy of the bid tabulation was provided. The recommendation is that the Board of Directors award bid number 2021-006 to PNC Construction, Portland, Oregon for Kiggins Bowl modernizations and field house in the amount of $5,097,000 plus Washington sales tax, and authorize the interim superintendent to execute the appropriate contract documents.
Thank you. Are there any questions or concerns? Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Kathy. We can go forward with the vote. Director Barrows,
Approve.
Director Decker,
Approve.
Director Smith,
Approve.
Director Zavala.
Approve.
Thank you, and I also approve. So the motion passes. Lastly, we have the recommendation to award bid number 2021-003 for tenant improvements at McLaughlin Middle School Pod A.
On March 3rd, 2021, 2 bids were received and opened for building and site improvements of the former McLaughlin Middle School Pod A. The renovation work is being completed in preparation of relocating the Early Childhood Center ECE program from Leisure School campus to this location. Inline Commercial Construction Incorporated from Aloha, Oregon submitted the lowest qualified bid. A copy of the bid tabulation was also provided. It is a recommendation that the District Board of Directors award bid number 2021-003 to Inline Commercial Construction Incorporated in Aloha, Oregon for tenant improvements at McLaughlin Middle School Pod A in the amount of $1,083,000 and $183,195.05 plus Washington sales tax, and authorize the interim superintendent to execute the appropriate contract documents.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you.
Kathy.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Director Barrows. Any questions or concerns? Okay, we can move forward with a vote. Director Barrows,
Approve.
Director Decker,
Approve.
Director Smith,
Approve.
Director Zavala,
I accept.
and I also approve. That concludes our regular business for this evening. And that concludes our agenda.
Oh,
yeah.
Really? Sorry. I can't believe it. Sorry.
Well, I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. We have another meeting next Tuesday, and we appreciate everyone tuning in. Thank you very much. That concludes the meeting.